Hello and welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Oral Sciences, and we're joined by our programme team as well as one of our students. So they'll do their best to answer any questions that you have. Please use the chat box throughout and we'll do our best to cover off all your questions. If you've got any questions that are specific to your application or funding, things like that, I'll share some helpful links in the chat box for you to follow up with those ones. We are recording this session, so don't panic if you miss anything. We will be sharing the link afterwards for you to catch up on anything that you may have missed. Jason, would you like to kick off with introductions?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. So I'm Dr. Jason Brown. I'm a lecturer in oral sciences here at the University of Glasgow, and I'm the programme lead for the Oral Science Masters.
Hi, I'm Susan Christie, and I'm the postgraduate administrator for MSc Oral Sciences. So I look after students' timetables and all the admin things that they'll need while they're studying with us.
Hello everyone, I am Ala Abu Zaid, one of the students of Masters of Oral Science in the University of Glasgow, and I am also the student representative for this program, and we are happy to be with you here to answer all the questions for the newly students of this program.
Thank you. So Jason, would you like to kick off with an overview of the MSc Oral Sciences?
Yes, absolutely. So what we try and do with this Oral Science Masters programme is we try and make scientists out of what is generally clinical um, for clinicians that are from a clinical background. So most of the students that tend to join our program are dentists or dental professionals that have limited research experience and they've never really worked in a laboratory. So what we try and do is teach the students a wide range of transferable translational research skills so that they can then take them forward into what hopefully would be future research careers. We generally teach the course from a very translational point of view. So we are all predominantly active researchers within the field of oral sciences. So that could be either laboratory researchers or clinicians, and those would be the lecturers that teach on the course. And therefore, we have actively generated new data from our PhD students, and what we try and do is teach that new data that we've generated to the students. So, it's a very hot topic kind of master's program, and it constantly develops and changes on year depending on the data that we're generating. So, in a nutshell, we try and create scientists out of what is generally students from clinical backgrounds.
Ella, is that your background? Are you that Jason's just described?
Yes, so I'm not a clinician, so I'm a scientist. So I'm a biomedical scientist by training. So I'm a microbiologist and an infection biologist.
And Ella, what about you? What's your background?
Actually, I'm a dentist for more than 10 years. So yes, it's a bit challenging to be here in the university and going back to the academical studying. So we will talk about that in brief.
That's maybe a good chance to just pick that up because we are always asked about the transition from undergraduate study to postgraduate study, and it is very different. So, how have you found that, especially coming from work rather than studying to studying again? That must be quite difficult.
It's so much difficult at the beginning because sorry, I'm away from studying for 10 years and a lot of things just changed, especially in the technology aspect. And for this research, we depend a lot on some few newly things as well, such as the statistical point of view. And the lab is, yes, a little bit challenging at the beginning, but we have an amazing doctors just like Dr. Brown, and Susan is always there to support us. So they made a huge help and support for this challenging point of changing from the work to the academical point.
Ah, great. It's always good when you've got that sort of support network, isn't it? In terms of the optional classes for the MSc, Susan, I don't know if this is one maybe for yourself, but when do students choose them? Is that right at the beginning, or do they get a bit of a bit of time to decide?
The optional courses for this are in semester two, and our preference is that students wait until late November before they choose them. Sometimes people will actively enroll themselves on it, but at the very beginning of term, but find with the semester one classes, it's maybe opened up an area of interest that they didn't think they would be interested in, and they then want to study further. So we give the students information on both the optional courses in semester two, and then they can decide. And generally, that's the end of November. But they have the chance to communicate with the course leads for those courses as well, to make sure that they've made the right decision.
Great. And what about the teaching? Whereabouts is teaching held for this MSc?
So the majority of teaching would either be at the dental school, so the University of Glasgow Dental School, which is based in the city centre of Glasgow. And then we have probably the other remaining half of the teaching will be done on the main campus, which is based in the West End of Glasgow. It's very easy and easily accessible. Either a nice brisk walk for 25-30 minutes across a park, or there is regular bus routes and also subway routes to get to the main campus. So probably half and half. The students will spend half the time at the dental school and half the time on the main campus for their teaching.
Great. And the research project is something we're always asked about, such a big part of the MSc. Can you tell us a wee bit more about that? So when do students choose their topic? Do they get to decide? How does that all work?
Yep, absolutely. So the research project, or what we call the dissertation period, this is a 60 credit module which runs in semester three. So that is after the Easter break. The Easter break changes year on year, but it's usually around the end of April through to the start of August. And what we do at the dental school is, as I mentioned earlier, vast majority of teachers on the course are active researchers, whether that be laboratory researchers or clinicians who also do research. We all put projects forward, and then what we try and do is align the students' interests with the supervisor's interests and those projects that have been put forward. So we try our hardest to align the students' interests with a supervisor that also has similar interests as well. And that usually happens around the end of semester two. So around March time, the students can potentially then start to be linked up with their supervisors.
Great. You've got all that to look forward to, Ala. What has been your favourite part of the MSc so far? Because I know when I speak to students, they all normally mention the research project, so you've not done that yet. So what's been your favourite part so far?
Actually, for me, my favorite part was the journal club that we had in semester one, and I'm always saying that because it was the first class that I attended in semester one, as I arrived too late. So it was the most fabulous start for this semester, and we had a lot of interaction between each other. We're just like divided into groups, and we were just discussing about the research every single class. So at that journal club, you can, for all the students, you can just discover what is behind what you are practicing in your clinic, and it's so much interesting to know what is happening and to know the answers for all the why that you used to say or to see in your clinic actually.
Ah, it's nice seeing it in practice. And in terms of practical work, what sort of practical work, Jason, and lab skills will students develop?
So we have two modules, one in semester one and one in semester two, which is related to research skills. So we have what we call a basic research skills module in semester one, and then an advanced research skills module in semester two. And in those research skills modules, which also includes the journal clubs, which Ala just mentioned, we get the students into the labs, and for the vast majority of students, this is getting them into the labs for the very first time. So we teach them the basics, how to work safely within a biological or biomedical science related research lab. And then we advance on that, and we get the students to do some very basic microbiological techniques. So we actually get them to create their own dental plaque within the research labs in semester one. And then in semester two, we get the students to do what we call a mini project in the advanced research skills module, whereby they are trying to detect markers of either microbiological markers or immunological markers related to oral health and on oral disease within saliva samples. And then what they've learned in those two research skills modules very much underpins what they can then build upon in the dissertation period in semester three if they do a laboratory-based project.
And Ella, what about you? Have you enjoyed the lab set of skills that you've learned, and do you think you'd like to take them into your research project?
Actually, the lab sessions at the beginning was so much challenging and difficult for us, for me, and for a few students as well, from feedback that I got from them, because we are away from that for a long time. But trust me, Dr. Brown, Susan, they always send us so much information about the lab sessions before we get into that. So we find that much easier, and there is so much of interesting procedure. We are doing that in lab, and for the first time you can just treat disease, but for the first time you are really just integrated in the whole process, and you can see the microorganisms by the microscope, and you are just mimic the patient mouth for us as a dentist in the lab. So it's so much interesting step in our program actually.
That's good. And it's nice to know actually that there's other students that are in a similar position to you. Like they don't have all that lab knowledge necessarily, so you're all learning together, which is always good, isn't it? And in terms of assessments, what can students expect with the assessments? Are they varied?
Yeah, so we pride ourselves and have done for a number of years on creating very diverse assessment styles. So I think a lot of the students that join our program are maybe used to written exams, sort of in the later years of their undergraduate degrees, that they're used to written exams. And yes, we do have a few written exams as assessments, but it's a wide variety of different assessments, ranging from laboratory reports to essays to research proposals. We also get the students to do lots of oral presentations and poster presentations, as well as some very unique things like creating websites. They have to create a website on a technology or a novel diagnostic of their choosing in semester two. There's other things like defending their laboratory work in semester one. So yeah, a wide range of different assessment styles that very much is different to what a lot of the students are used to in their undergraduate days.
And Ella, how have you found managing that? Because I know that different courses have obviously got different assessments, some are due at similar times. It can be really difficult to then manage yourself. So how have you found that? Have you managed okay?
Actually, at the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me because you feel that you have much time to study, but at the end of the day, you just will find yourself having only 3 or 4 days for the assessment, and you will never know that you just reached to the end point of that. So the main thing that I want to tell everyone about that, what they keep telling us, please. You have to manage your time. You have to just, I want you to write down all the dates that you have. That's my advice, the first advice for the future students. Just write down all the dates for the assessments, and yes, make a priorities for everything, because it's in Glasgow you are just passing the time trying to discover everything around you.
It's probably one of the hardest things, isn't it? Just balancing everything, because there's so much to do out with your studies with all the different clubs and societies that you can get involved in. That yeah, just actually remembering that you're there to study and get your MSc can be quite tough. Um, the is there anything that students can do to sort of really set themselves up for starting in September? Any studying they can do? Any preparation?
I'll jump in first. For me, no, I would always say a lot of the students that start, everybody's on the same level, and we try and start very basic. We teach them fundamental oral sciences. So, for example, in their first few weeks, we'll teach them about the microbiology of the oral cavity, and then we'll start to build on that knowledge over the months as they start. You, as students, you may want to just have a bit of a background read of some of the papers that our research group have published in recent years to give you a feel for some of the things that you'll be taught. But from a staff point of view, there's nothing that I would recommend for any of the prospective students to do. And there's definitely no background reading that you definitely have to do.
I guess, Ali, you would maybe say get here nice and early, plenty of time.
Okay, I will give the students some advices. We talked about the time management. Please, I recommend reviewing some basic statistics because it will help a lot in understanding the research and the data analysis. And the second thing is don't hesitate to ask about anything for Susan and Dr. Brown. They will just help you at time. Don't think that there is any unnecessary question. They will answer anything at any time. I can guarantee that. And yes, another thing, please try to read research papers, and try to understand the structure of that. It will help you a lot according to the methods, abstract. I'm trying to look at Dr. Brown according to the abstract, and the students will know about that in the future. So just be familiar with that, with the research and the structure of it.
I'll just jump back in there. So one of the very first assessments that the students will have to do, which is usually around November time, so the students have only been here for 6 weeks or so, is what we call an abstract writing assessment. So we get the students in to do a written exam whereby they get given a research paper, but everything has been kept in the paper except the abstract and the title. So they will need to create an abstract and a title from the research paper. So that's what Alar is referring to there.
Well, there you go, a little spoiler.
So we didn't know that before, so you got the point.
Susan, what about yourself? You speak to students all the time. If you get any advice for them, what do you see come up time and time again?
The main thing I would say that students are surprised at the beginning is the amount of reading and the amount of kind of self-directed learning that they have to do as a postgraduate student. Wherever students have had their undergraduate teaching, they will have been used to being assessed in different ways, and in a lot of cases that might be writing an essay or sitting an exam or whatever. And as Jason and Ella have explained, that's not really the assessment style here. It's in a lot of cases, there's quite a lot of oral presentations, speaking to groups, and the journal clubs especially are an opportunity to speak with your fellow students and throw ideas about. So I would encourage students to be prepared to jump in with both feet when they arrive, to get to know the rest of the class, to get to know the teaching staff. Don't be frightened to ask questions, but also be aware for every hour of teaching you've received, you would expect to do about 10 hours of self-directed learning. So there'll be a lot of time in the library and a lot of studying as well. So it's just being able, as Alice said, to kind of balance that and plan that. So that when it does come to your assessments in November, December, you feel a wee bit more prepared for that. But reach out to other parts of the university as well. There are amazing services the university has for learning support, student learning support. whether that be face-to-face small classes or tutorial groups that you can go along to. There are online recorded lectures that you can go to, everything to help you from the academic side of things and academic writing and assessment to how to understand the feedback that you're given once you've submitted an assignment and got your grade. And all of these services are there to help. So I would certainly be taking advantage of them.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? There's so much support there for students. It's just knowing to ask for it and get pointed in the right direction for it. You mentioned it there, Susan, but a lot of the time when we speak to students, one of the concerns they have is, oh, will I make friends? Will I, especially if you're not used to that sort of setting or you're a bit shy. So, Ella, how have you found making friends? Have you found that easy enough? Has there been plenty of opportunities to sort of speak to other people and network?
Actually, it's kind of yes. You have you can meet a lot of people, and it depends on you if you are social active or not. But yeah, there is so much variety in the types of the personalities that you have all around, and yeah, you can do that. But for me, I prefer to actually send messages and ask a lot, even for my mentality with Susan. She is the one who can cover. She is the angel of this university, actually. They all say that. By the way, they called you that you are an angel, but you didn't know that before.
Oh, there you go. Everybody's
yeah.
best friend, Susan.
Oh, I feel myself blushing. Thank you.
That is good. I think that's it, isn't it? If you're the kind of person that wants to socialise and wants to be out there, you can. But if you want to be more sort of keep to yourself, that's also an option too. If you want to sort of focus on your studies. I think maybe one of our last questions, Jason, what kind of jobs do students tend to go into after that? Do they get the bug for research, or do they go back to what they were doing before?
So it's a bit of a mixture. So we know of, there might be more, but we've had over 120 students come through the course since it started in 2017, and we know of at least 20 students have gone on to do PhDs within the field of oral sciences. We know a lot of students that come through the program, they go back home to their home institutes and they continue doing their clinical duties and perhaps take up more teaching. And we know that a number of students continue to do that, but also have a role in research back in their home institutes. So it's a variety of different potential career routes. As I said right at the start, we try and teach all of the students important transferable research skills so that they can become scientists if they want to. And I think that is one of the key take-home messages from this session today.
And Ala, what do you plan on doing once you've finished? What's the plan?
Actually, every time, or really every time, you are changing your plans, because sometimes one word from someone here in Glasgow, the University of Glasgow, will just make you decide something different. So for me, I feel that I want to finish my PhD, because what I say, the University of Glasgow, just you will be addicted to be in there all the time. Actually, it's an addiction. So I'm sorry for using that word, but that's the most expressing word for me. You can't leave easily from here, actually. So, and if I am decided to be to go back to the dental clinic, then I think that maybe I will hopefully start to work here, maybe, and maybe just for one thing, to give the love back for University of Glasgow and for the people in here, actually. But the first thing that we really talk about a lot as students, we just don't want to leave University of Glasgow.
Ah, the dream.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay.
Thank you so much. And I want to add just one thing. I just forgot to mention that that according to what I want the students to remember all the time. And I wish I knew that before about the extension. So if you feel unwell or the circumstance just doesn't help you to submit your exam, if you really need that, so don't forget that you have that opportunity, because I didn't know that at the beginning, and yes, I really needed that at the beginning.
Yeah, I suppose that just goes back to, if you need help, just ask for it. The support's there.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks very much to our panel for taking time out your days. I know you've got lots to do, and Ali, you've got lots of studying to do. So thanks very much for taking part. Hopefully you've all found it useful watching. If you do have any further questions, we've got an email address on the programme webpage. Please do get in touch, and we'll do our best to get back to you and help you with what you need. And hopefully we'll see you all come September time. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.